A Battle Built here with another video, and today we're getting some more Season 7 Great League Go Battle League battles. I apologize for the inconsistency in uploads. Before, when I came back, put out a few videos, I thought some of the hard, stressful stuff at work was had passed, but some stuff is still kind of taking my time recently, so I'm trying my best to manage, which is why you've been noticing more of the Twitch videos. They're just easier for me to do, so I can still get you all some content, which at the end of the day is my main goal. But I am here with another shoutcast because I know a lot of us also enjoy when I do these types of videos. They just take a little bit more time for me to get around to. And today we actually do have a submission from Sokafy, and he's actually kind of remixed the team I was using a little bit last season, where I had Galvantula, Cresselia, and Diggersby, but instead we got some Diggersby returning with Alolan Ninetails in the lead instead of Galvantula. So I'm actually quite excited to see how this team will pan out. Alolan Ninetails is bulkier than Galvantula, quite as spammy, and definitely lays out the damage, so I'm excited to see how this team comp works with the super bulky Pokemon of Cresselia and Diggersby behind it. So let's get into these battles. If you're excited for me, trying to get out this content for y'all as often as I can, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I promise the consistency will come back sooner or later, and I know Great League is almost coming to an end, so please do let me know how your battles have been. Have you gotten your elos yet? Because I know today when this video comes out, some people are getting their elos. I actually missed one day of battles, so I probably won't get my elo for another day or two. And let me know where you're starting out and what you've been messing around with and having success with in some Great League battles. I've been having success with my other team, the one that came when the Weather Ball buff came in with Alolan Ninetails, Politoed, and Umbreon. I've been having a lot of success with that team again, so maybe I'll try and squeeze out a video before Great League ends. I still highly recommend you check out that video, though, if you want to know how to use it. Not too much has changed since I put out that last one. Season 7 Great League meta really hasn't changed much since we haven't gotten a move pool update or anything like that. Hopefully we do get something along those lines halfway through the season like last season, but nothing was announced, so we shall see. Alright, let's talk more about these matches, less about me and what I've been up to, even though I do want to hear how you have all been up to and how you're enjoying this season. We had an Alolan Ninetails on Swampert matchup. He ends up leaving with Shield Advantage and Switch Advantage. They swapped in a Skarmory. He matches Skarmory with Diggersby, and we know Diggersby performs very well against Skarmory because of the super effective Fire Punches. It's like a mini Groudon for Great League, and with Mud Shot as a quick move, these Fire Punches come out real quick. On top of the fact that Diggersby can tank a Flash Cannon, can tank a Brave Bird, can tank a Sky Attack. Depending on how many moves a Skarmory expected to get off, going for the Flash Cannon there was actually the good play, even though they probably should be running Brave Bird. But on one of my last videos, I was running Skarmory with a Talonflame team. Maybe they're expecting to run into a bunch of Bastiodons also. So that's the only reason why you'd want Flash Cannon. Other than that, Brave Bird really is the play. Either way, still has Shield Advantage. Diggersby is put in work there, coming in with Cresselia against the Galarian Stunfisk. Man, I'm rusty. Oh yeah, I apologize. This is what happens when I take off a few days and try and get back to the commentating. So I apologize for any stutters or any missed calls. What a swap! Not even needing to use another shield, just trying to guarantee the dub because the Cresselia on Galarian Stunfisk matchup is a good one, especially with Shield Advantage, but it's not an amazing one. Definitely need to get off the Grass Knots. Great catch of the Rock Slide. Another charge move comes through, calls a bait, which is huge because the Earthquake is definitely the move that the Galarian Stunfisk wants to land on the Cresselia here. So this trainer here making some extremely optimal plays. Needs to land one more Grass Knot to take out the Galarian Stunfisk, and still has a shield, so they overfarmed. Unfortunately, I placed them in a CMP tie. They're not going to shield here. Do they go for another Rock Slide? They go for another Rock Slide. Are they not running Earthquake, or are they just really obsessed with trying to bait out that shield? They might be running Rock Slide and Muddy Water. That's very possible. I highly don't recommend you run that moveset. This also could be a single moved Galarian Stunfisk that only knows Rock Slide. Either way, because of that amazing swap, this Cresselia was going to clutch out the match regardless and end the first battle of this set. We actually have more than 5 battles, so you could see the ins and outs of the situations. As I take more and more submissions, and now that I figured out a consistent way to speed up battles, if you want to submit me your battles, I know Great League's coming to an end, so if you want to get on top of that Ultra League submissions, anything Spice, any meta teams, I actually want to hop on the trend of taking at least 10 battles, because I can speed them up pretty quickly, and it allows for the audience, you all, to see if this team, it gives a better chance of you seeing if this team that's being featured is a fluke or not. Five matches, one set is not easy to pull off a 5-0 with random teams, but it's definitely harder to do it twice. And this isn't even like a full perfect like 10-0 set or anything along those lines. It was 2 sets. There are more wins than losses, a majority of wins, couple losses in here. So we want to show you the ins and the outs. And going forward, if you want to submit me battles, I would definitely want about 10 matches. If you send me 5, then that's fine. Depending on what you've sent me, I'll debate if it was spicy enough or unique enough that 5 battles was plenty for it or not. But we got an interesting situation here. We have a Talonflame, and then Diggersby swapped into it. I don't think Diggersby is the best option for it, because again, this is like Great League Groudon versus Great League Ho-Ho, and Great League Master League Ho-Ho, regular Ho-Ho, typically walls Groudon, but because that Talonflame threw the Brave Bird, that singular resisted Earthquake did a ton of damage, but he's not going to end up being able to take switch here. Talonflame does land the Flame Charge to take out the Diggersby, but he comes back in with Cresselia and is able to Psycho Cut down because that Brave Bird had landed and the defense was super duper low. So yeah, going forward, if you could send me 10 battles, that'd be awesome. I think that kind of just covers that spiel. I'm just throwing that out there in case I didn't finish my point there. But if you want to send me 5, that's fine, but I would be holding more priority to do shoutcasts over 10. And I do apologize if I don't get to other people's submissions, because I've been getting quite a few. Oof, this is a poor team comp to be running into. Cresselia is not going to be able to clutch this one out. Definitely got hard countered with the Ferrothorn on the Alolan Ninetails, because that Steel on Ice action was at the lead. Yeah, because then it was a Talonflame on the Diggersby, which Talonflame has a positive matchup there. And now we have Bastiodon on Cresselia here. I don't know if there were any misplays in the beginning. I guess as long as that Ferrothorn goes straight Flash Cannon, it's only taking neutral damage from the Weather Balls. So maybe, or, well, no, it went Power Whip. Power, we did see that earlier. The Power Whip does do a lot of damage, though. So I guess that is still a pretty positive matchup for Ferrothorn, even though the ice damage is neutral on it because it's not only steel but also a grass type. So I'm actually quite surprised at how much of a disadvantage they're at, but Bastiodon on Cresselia definitely wraps up the match and is an unfortunate L. That is how certain matchups, you know, end. Sometimes you can't always get the benefit of the last possible Pokemon. Cresselia would have done well against a lot of things in the end there. Bastiodon, not one of those things. All right, getting into this next match, we have a Ninetales mirror matchup, but one of the Ninetales is running Charm. The other one is running Powder Snow. Well, this trainer, the one that's featuring, is running Powder Snow and going for the big Gleam. Unfortunately gets shielded. If that would have landed, it definitely would have won them the lead and would have been a great play. But because of that, they're deciding to not commit a shield in this lead matchup. They know they're going to lose, and I wonder what they decide to come in with. I probably would have came in with Diggersby just because the fire punches would have been super effective, and it would take a while for the Ninetales to load up these Weather Balls. But they came in with Cresselia. They're letting a charge move come through. They're not letting it come through. They decided last second to shield. Ends up being the Weather Ball like you would have expected. And then they swap into a Snorlax. So after winning lead, after the opponent won lead, they decided they wanted to give up switch, which was quite the play. Gonna throw the Moonblast here. Does about 40% of Snorlax's health and gets a 10% debuff, which is really clutch to line up Diggersby with the Snorlax here. Diggersby with that normal typing is double resisting all of the lick damage, so really only has to worry about potential body slams or superpowers, but an Earthquake gets through, and the Snorlax essentially did nothing in this matchup. It landed some licks on the Cresselia, but that wasn't anything great. They come in with a Medicham, so I understand why they didn't shield the Snorlax, because Medicham's going to have a positive matchup against Diggersby here. But Thickersby is so thick, that's a super effective Ice Punch from a Medicham, and even that didn't do that much damage. Getting off the Earthquake here does about 66% I was going to say, of Medicham's health. Gonna try to go for the Fire Punch CMP tie, which works out because the Medicham's not able to farm. Another Ice Punch comes through. And now going to come back into the Cresselia. Is the Cresselia going to be able to clutch this? This all is going to fall on energy management. Going for the Moonblast, will this go unshielded or get the opponent's last shield? It goes unshielded. Do you commit to a Psycho Cut down and just shield this Weather Ball? I think that's got to be the play. Psycho Cut down, go double Grass Knot on Medicham and just hope you outpace them to whatever their next move is. They're getting a little bit of lag there, which is a bit unfortunate, but doesn't seem like any moves got missed. Definitely committed to the Psycho Cut down, like I said. Getting off the first Grass Knot, the Medicham did sneak through a counter, but because it just threw that Ice Punch on the Diggersby, I don't see it getting to another charge move, so we really just need to survive those 2 counters. Just barely survives. Will this Grass Knot do enough damage, though? It's only going to be neutral non-stab. It does enough damage. That Medicham not being XL was pretty clutch. I just checked in the top right corner of the screen. It was only a 14-16 CP Medicham. If it was an XL, it probably would have survived and may have just lost that match. But you know what? You can only play the opponents in front of you, and this trainer did a great job finding their win condition. So, losing lead here, safe swap into Cresselia, the Bastiodon staying in. This still isn't a great matchup for the Cresselia, but we'll be able to land neutral Grass Knots on the Bastiodon, and we'll hopefully be able to slowly chip away, or hopefully the opponent will swap out, and then they'll be able to flip switch and line up Diggersby with the Bastiodon late game, but it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case because the Bastiodon staying in, got the Cresselia to half its health. Now they swap into a Meganium, which is interesting to swap so late because a couple charge moves were thrown. When the switch timer is up, the Ninetales could come back in early and kind of slaughter this Meganium. Let's see how this ends up getting played out. Charge move coming through. Do you shield and try to preserve the Cresselia here? They decided to do so. Are you going to go for the Moonblast? They're over, well, they got an extra Psycho Cut through, going for the Moonblast here. Will this get shielded? It should. They got to keep switch. It got shielded. Do you swap into Ninetales now? They're deciding not to swap. They're staying in this matchup. I feel like we should have, well, we could have swapped. Then again, after Ninetales takes care of the Meganium, the Bastiodon is just going to come back in. So they just let Cresselia come back in. They go into the Ninetales. Definitely don't want to shield this because the Bastiodon will slaughter the Ninetales once the Ninetales is done with this Meganium. So let's see if they commit to a complete Powder Snow down. Probably at this point, even though this energy is not going to be of great use against the Bastiodon. Let's see what they decide to do. They throw a Dazzling Gleam at the Bastiodon because this Ninetales is probably not going to get a chance to see the last Pokemon. Might as well Gleam it. That did some chip damage. Coming into Diggersby, getting some more lag, getting countered with a Toxicroak, which is unfortunate, going straight for the big move in Earthquake. If this goes unshielded, it's going to take out the Toxicroak's remaining health, and it goes unshielded, and it's clutch because Diggersby absolutely walls Bastiodon, and Bastiodon cannot do anything to try and flip that matchup. So a huge missed call by the opponent, hoping or expecting a bait there from the Diggersby, and the Earthquake landing. Getting into this next match, we have a Ninetales on a Registeel lead. Definitely not a great lead for this Ninetales, but because Cresselia doesn't have a great matchup against Registeel either, I said Registeel, right? I hope I said Registeel. You definitely don't want to swap out because Diggersby's the only real counter, and even Diggersby's going to take a Focus Blast to the face, and it's going to hurt, but pulls off a great swap. This should only be a Flash Cannon because of the timing. Really great play. Flash Cannon does about a third of the health, and then a Cherrim comes in. Interesting swap in. As much as Grass is typically super effective against ground, Diggersby does have super effective Fire Punches against it, and Cherrim doesn't have a cheap Grass charge move to get to. So the fact they're throwing these Weather Balls so quickly, it's only neutral damage. They're going to be getting to the charge moves at similar timing. You definitely don't want to go for a Solar Beam if you're the Cherrim, just because of the fact that like it would take a lot more energy than the Weather Ball, and would probably get shielded because they're in a two shield situation. But do you shield this Weather Ball and try and flip switch? Probably not. You need your shields here, mostly because of the fact that Registeel has a positive matchup against the remainder of your team, and you're not going to be able to preserve the Diggersby regardless. Coming back in with the Ninetales, getting one Powder Snow, going to throw the Weather Ball. This will take out the Charm's remaining health, unless it gets a shield. Takes it out. The question is, will the 2 shield to 1 shield advantage pay off for this Ninetales Cresselia on Registeel situation? Because again, neither of these Pokemon really want to see Registeel, but they did catch that energy from the Flash Cannon onto the Diggersby before, which allowed them to preserve a shield, so that was a huge play. Another Flash Cannon is going to come through here. They're going to shield it because it would definitely one-shot, being double super effective against Ninetales because of the Ice and Fairy typing. Building up to 2 Weather Balls, well, not CMP time. they were stuck in the middle of that powder snow. Definitely need to shield another flash cannon because they want to get use out of their energy. If they let it come through, they're going to go down, and all this energy would go to waste. So will the weather balls be enough to chip away? And what is the opponent's last Pokemon? Will they be able to turn this very poor lead situation around? That is the question. They had Registeel, and they also have Cherim. Honestly, I can't figure out what that last Pokemon could potentially be. Will they be able... Ooh. I was like, will they be able to powder snow down? The safe play was to swap. Thankfully, the Registeel wasn't able to get off anything. And their last Pokemon is a Scrafty, which is clutch. Even though Scrafty has a shield, never mind. Apparently, their opponent forgot. But that was GG's regardless, because Moonblast is double super effective at one-shots. As much as Scrafty's a dark type and would have been able to get off a foul play, they would not have been able to get off 2 foul plays, which would have been necessary to take out the Cresselia. And they would have just gotten off 2 Moonblast there to take out the Scrafty. So that's actually pretty insane. They played out of a really poor situation to clutch that match. And getting into this next match, they have a positive lead. As much as Diggersby has access to Fire Punch, that's super effective. It's non-stab. Thickersby doesn't have a high attack, so it's not doing a lot. And then they safe swap into their own Alolan Ninetails, but with Charm. So they're matching the Alolan Ninetails here with Cresselia, and I actually feel like Alolan Ninetails and Diggersby are a pretty solid core for Great League battles, just because of the fact that Alolan Ninetails take super effective damage from like Steel and Fire mainly in Great League, and Diggersby does great to cover that. And whereas like Diggersby takes super effective damage from like Grass, Alolan Ninetails will cover that really well. Diggersby also takes super effective from Water, and Ninetails doesn't cover that great, but that's where something like Cresselia can come in because it has super effective Grass Knots. So the team balance here I think is actually done quite well. I'm trying to give a compliment. Couldn't think of how I wanted to word the compliment. But overall, I think it's an extremely balanced team. As we can see in a lot of these situations, these are definitely some hard-fought battles, and they overcame some negative situations already. I think we're probably like, what, the 5th or 6th battle, whatnot. They take out the Ninetails there. They're in a 2-shield situation with some Thickersby on Thickersby abuse going on. They're going straight for the Earthquake. It lands, gets the Thickersby into the yellow, coming straight in with the Ninetails, going for the Weather Ball. This will take out the remaining health. If not shielded, it goes shielded. They overtap. If they would have clicked, I don't know if they overtapped. They might have done that on purpose because they have shields to protect from the Fire Punch, but they definitely could have thrown back-to-back Weather Balls there and potentially threatened the last shield or took out the Diggersby before the energy went off. And then the opponent swaps into another Charmer. So this is Diggersby double Charm. Don't do my boy Diggersby that negatively, placing it on such a toxic team comp. I'm so disappointed by my opponent. Thickersby of all Pokemon should not be placed on a toxic team comp of double Charm. Don't you ever let me see this again. If I ever run into this trainer, I'm gonna make them pay. I don't even know if that's a great team comp, and unfortunately the trainer we're shoutcasting here is not going to be able to make them pay because they're just going to get charmed down, which is very unfortunate in this situation. But ew, Alolan Ninetails and Wigglytuff both charm along with Diggersby. I'm disappointed. I don't want to see it there. Diggersby does take super effective from fighting, so that's why they have 2 Charmers behind it. And I guess Diggersby does cover the Steel weakness that Charm would take. So I guess like having Diggersby there isn't the worst thing in the world on a double Charm comp. But who wants to see double Charm? Ugh. Either way. Alright, next match, another Charmer. I'm starting to get sick of this now. They say swap into Cresselia, and they're going for a Moonblast. The Charmer stayed in. Don't tell me it's like some sort of triple Charm team comp, because that would be disgusting. Hopefully we can beat it here. The last thing I want to see is more Charm abuse. Either way, the Wigglytuffs get into a charge move. It's going to be an Ice Beam. Cresselia decides to shield it, obviously having to, because Ice Beam would have gotten them super low. And if they want to try to potentially take switch advantage since the Wigglytuff stayed in, that'd be their only hope. No, they're running it with a Bullet Seed Charm. Okay, just don't show me a second Charmer, because then double Charm with Bullet Seed Charm would be a weird team comp too. We're just running double Charm on anything and making it work. Cresselia's thickness, though, pays off, allows it to get off this Moonblast. And I think the switch timer is up, so they should probably just go straight into their own Ninetails. Unfortunately, getting Bullet Seeded down should not have made that play because the Charm could not get out if they decided to just go straight into their Ninetails. So they just gave the Charm some free energy. This is going to be a super effective Weather Ball, which does about like 60% of Ninetails' remaining health, but they're almost able to commit to a Powder Snow down. They're gonna have to shield the Weather Ball here, and when that Charmer comes in, they'll at least have some energy. unless they have something else behind this charm to try and take care of the Ninetales. Nope, the Charmer comes back in. They go straight for the Gleam. There's no shields in this situation, so the Ninetales is able to gleam the Wigglytuff. They then swap into Diggersby, and the opponent comes in with a Hypno. If this Hypno is not running Ice Punch or Focus Blast, which are not exactly the popular moves, charge moves to be running on a Hypno, then Diggersby absolutely walls Hypno. So let's see what their charge move is going to be. This is definitely a punch. Which punch is it? Only a Fire Punch. Fire Punch is not enough. Neutral, non-stab. Hypno is not exactly a high attack type Pokemon, and Thickersby is already too thick for these types of moves. So they can get off a couple Fire Punches. They're barely doing anything. Thickersby is able to get off 2 Earthquakes here, and this should take out the Hypno's remaining health. Now the question is, will the Diggersby and Ninetales be able to hold on from these charms long enough? And of course, Diggersby is able to. It's Thickersby for a reason. Its defense is so high, tanking all those charms, fire punching the Charmer, and we call that a GG, a nice beautiful dub there. And that is actually the last match of this set of battles. I don't really know how many battles this was. It was definitely more than 5. But I know I also had to cut one out because like the full clip wasn't there. But other than that, I included all the other battles that they sent through. So Sokafy, thank you so much for the submission. I like this little remix on my older version of the team with Alolan Ninetails here over Galvantula. I definitely think this is a great league team people can use to have success with. It's got a lot of bulk. It's got a lot of spamminess. Overall, quality team. In the comments section below, let me know your thoughts on this team. I'm not seeing any huge weaknesses off the bat, and overall some very well played out battles and some great battles overall. I'm saying overall a lot. Thank you for the submission. If you want to submit me some battles, please try to send me 10 battles. If you want to send me 5, that works, or a number in between. Maybe I take even more than 10, but not too many more than 10. The link to my Google Drive is in the submission. I'm focusing on that Ultra League content now, so once that starts up, if you want to hop on that bandwagon, please feel free to send me some battles. I'm excited. I definitely want to get on top of the Ultra League content and more of the Season 7 content. Again, I do apologize for the inconsistency, but I am doing my best to get you as much battles and content and PvP related teams that you can have success with, or spice for the fun, for the memes as possible. But other than that, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video.